afternoon and welcome back to Football League World TV. It's Monday afternoon and it's time for our Two Winners, Two Losers show here on the channel, where we reflect on some of the best bits and the worst bits from the EFL weekend just gone. As ever, I am joined by my colleague Marcus Alley to run through the two winners and the two losers. Marcus, how are you getting on this afternoon?
Very well, thanks, Sam. It's brewing very nicely in the EFL at the moment, as you can see. On a Monday morning, of a high-profile departure, so no, glad to be on to reflect on another exciting weekend.
Yeah, lots happening in the EFL over the course of the weekend. And of course, Steve Bruce losing his job this morning as West Brom drew 0-0 with Luton on the weekend. If you haven't watched this show before, we select two winners and two losers, two teams. Two winners and two losers. Please do send in your comments. We want to hear from you. Who were you impressed with on the weekend? Who were you not so impressed with? Right, let's kick off with the first winner. Right, who impressed you on the weekend, Marcus, from the EFL?
So the first winner of today's show is Preston North End. 2 wins in a week for them, a 1-0 win in midweek, and then topping that off with a very impressive 3-2 win at High Fly in Norwich City. Finally, some goals for Preston fans to celebrate, even some going in at the other end. Their first game has gone over 2.5 goals all season. But I think Emil Rees being a real standout player and someone that Preston fans would have looked to be a real key player if they are going to be able to sustain a playoff push this season. For him to score 3 goals in a week and add 2 very composed finishes to that at Carrow Road at the weekend, it really was an impressive performance from him. Really nice header back across goal after some good work from Robbie Brady. Really good free agent signing he's turning out to be. And another standout performer for me was Alvaro Fernandez at left wing back on loan from Manchester United. Looks like an inspired signing, only on loan, of course, but if they can keep him for the whole season, then they're going to benefit hugely from that. Obviously, Norwich on very good form coming into the match, take the lead very early on, second minute, I think it was, with Josh Sargent. I think Freddie Woodman will be a little bit disappointed that he's let that one sort of go in, sort of wrong-footed him a little bit, but he's allowed, given their outstanding defensive start to the season. So to take 3 points from side that have been as ruthless as Norwich, particularly at home as well, in the last couple of months, was mightily impressive, and it cuts the gap to just 2 points outside the top 6 for Ryan Lowe's men now.
Yeah, I imagine this is a result that possibly busted a lot of people's accumulators on the weekend, given how impressive Norwich have been over the last few weeks. You mentioned where Preston are in the table right now. Do you view them as potential playoff contenders right now? Because it seems quite a wide open championship so far this season. What are your thoughts on the Lily Whites and a potential playoff push?
Well, they've definitely been one of the hardest teams to probably pick apart so far this season, with so little going in at either end. But I think if you can provide that firm base, then they do have the individuals to build from it. They defended resolutely to hold on in the end. There was a disallowed goal towards the end that was something that Norwich supporters might feel a little bit aggrieved about. But they have shown really impressive defensive resilience over the course of the season. We've seen how effective Freddie Woodman has been in the Championship over the years in his time at Swansea City, a real key player in elevating their performances and potentially where they even finished in the league table in those seasons. So I like the back line. Obviously, I've spoken about Emil Rees before. It's whether they can continue to create chances for him that will be the issue. I don't think they're quite as strong in terms of their depth, in terms of forward options outside of Rees. Was really good to see Troy Parrott get off the mark at the weekend, but he did go off injured straight after. So yeah, a little bit of a double-edged sword, that one. But no, I do think they could be a side that has realistic aspirations of the playoffs. Still quite early days to say, especially given the start that they've made. But I think building that confidence and belief to go 2 wins in a week has sort of completely transformed where they were looking over their shoulders. Now they're firmly looking up. So yeah, I do like what Ryan Lowe's doing at Preston at the moment. I think maybe a couple of shrewd January pickups and that they could be well in the mix.
Yeah, you mentioned Robbie Brady there. He's been utilised in various positions so far this season. Played at Carrow Road, just behind the front two, in a central attacking midfield role. It seemed to work quite nicely He, of course, provided an assist for one of the goals. Emil Rees in fine form as well, like you say. Right, let us know in the comments your thoughts on Preston North End. They are Marcus's first winner from the EFL weekend. They picked up an impressive 3-2 win against high-flying Norwich City to really get their playoff push on the way. Please do get in your thoughts. Right, let's get Marcus's second winner next. Okay, who is your second winner?
So dropping down to League One, the second winner is Exeter City. Really impressive 2-0 win at Barnsley this weekend. The Tykes were going into this match on their home turf. Six matches unbeaten in the league. Included in that run, they faced Ipswich Town and Sheffield Wednesday. Took 4 points off of those two in that run. So they were seemed to be rightful heavy favourites going into the match, but they were stunned in minute one. Jay Stansfield, a very popular goal scorer for Exeter for so many reasons, getting a brace, scoring the first minute of the first half and the third minute of the second half. And what a special day for him, of course, his first goals for Exeter City and his first senior league goals as well in his career. That front three of Sam Nombe, who picked up 2 assists in this match, the second being very impressive vision to pick out Stansfield at the back post. Those two up top with Giovanni Brown in the hole is looking really dangerous and something that Grecian supporters will be getting really excited about. And of course, the added context for this one, I'd probably argue this is their most impressive result so far this season. And to do it the match immediately after Matt Taylor moving on to Rotherham will be huge for belief. Kevin Nicholson in the dugout at the moment. Exeter, the kind of club that do like to promote from within, so it looks like he may have the chance to make the job his own if they can continue this form. But yeah, Stansfield, an incredibly popular goal scorer, a win away at Barnsley, a club that were 2 leagues higher than Exeter last season. Really great day to be a Grecians fan, and they're now just 2 points off the playoffs in League One as well.
Yeah, the Grecians have taken to League One really, really well. We're very much in the top half right now, just outside the playoff mix in League One as well. Amazing day for Jay Stansfield, like you say, 2 goals for him. It will be an emotional day in a Stansfield household, you'd imagine, after that one. Let's just touch then on Exeter and their chances of promotion potentially. You know, they have just been promoted from League Two, but they are looking very adept at this level. What are your thoughts on the Grecians? Can they sort of surprise the sort of pack that are in there right now in the playoffs?
I think they can continue to do so this season to upset the odds. Whether they can do it over the remainder of the season, I'm not so sure. I just think that their squad depth isn't quite enough. We shouldn't really expect it to be, given it's their first season in League One and sort of where they're competing financially in the table. But I do expect them to keep upsetting teams, keep performing above where people expected at the start of the season and secure a nice mid-table finish, potentially even push for a top half one. That front three really is the core for me. There could potentially be some January interest in a couple of those players. Playoffs is, probably a little bit too far off this season. I think they only fielded 6 substitutes at Oakwell. I think that speaks to the squad depth that they don't really have. The second string is not quite as good as the first 11 at the moment. But with that siege mentality and the momentum that they carried up from League Two, I see no reason why they can't carry on in the same vein. And hopefully from their supporters' point of view, sort of keep a playoff dream alive for as long as they can.
I think it's always good to have an array of goal scorers as well. We've seen Sam Nombe, Giovanni Brown, and Jay Stansfield in particular all kind of get on that score sheet, which is always a positive to have a number of sources of goals. Let us know your thoughts on Exeter City in the comments. They are Marcus's second winner from the EFL weekend just gone. They recorded an impressive 2-0 win at Oakwell against Michael Duff's Barnsley. Right, let's move over to the losers next. Okay, who disappointed you on the weekend just gone, Marcus?
Watford are in as today's first loser. 2 losses in a week after a 2-1 loss at home to Swansea City last midweek. And then that sort of compounded by a 3-1 defeat at Blackpool. Blackpool going into the match on I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but some kind of winless run that's dragged them back towards the relegation zone after a promising start under Michael Appleton. And really, I think Watford had Daniel Bachmann to thank for keeping them in the game so long, keeping it a 1-1 until the 81st minute when Jerry Yates got the Tangerines back in front. Some of the defending was really poor here from the Hornets. It's a moment of individual quality, which seems to be a theme of Watford's season, that gets them back on level terms. Imran Loza with a really impressive free kick right in the postage stamp, potentially a player that clubs could be looking at in January, especially if the Hornets aren't competing, aren't in and around the top six at that stage. But yes, at some moments of poor defensive thinking from the defenders. I think Hassan Kamara will be really disappointed with the second goal. Slaven Bilic will be definitely working on this on the training ground. Yates just finds so much space at the back post. Kamara's sort of, his body shape's all wrong. He's caught ball watching, waiting for the ball to come in, not knowing how much space he's afforded Yates at the back post. Very good finish, it has to be said. But they were kind of pinned in at that stage. It was a very dominant second half performance from Blackpool, and a much needed win for them. Then the third goal as well. Yates makes Troost-Ekong look a little bit silly, turning him inside out and putting it in at the near post. So sort of a very disappointing week for Watford, unable to build on that 4-0 win at Stoke City, their first match under Slaven Bilic, following that up with 2 losses. Be very disappointing for their fans. And yeah, so they are the first loser of today's show, going down 3-1 at Blackpool.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine the fan base at Watford right now will be disappointed with what sort of happened over the last week or so. It seemed like after that win at Stoke City, that impressive 4-0 win live on Sky, that maybe there might be an upturn in their fortunes. However, the last week has shown that Watford do have a lot of work to do still. A disappointing day for them at Bloomfield Road, losing 3-1. Jerry Yates for Blackpool, really, really impressing. Let us know your thoughts on Watford in the comments. Are you surprised? Were you surprised, to see them lose on Saturday up at Blackpool? That's 2 defeats in a row now for Slaven Bilic's side. Right, let's get Marcus's final loser next. Okay, who is your second loser, Marcus?
It's Hull City going down 2-0 at Huddersfield Town on Sunday. Picked up an enormous win, what felt really significant in midweek, 2-1 over Wigan Athletic, just to arrest their slide a little bit and head to one of the worst teams in the league so far this season in Huddersfield Town, who looked head and shoulders the better side here. Outside a Ryan Longman one-on-one in the first half, Hull didn't offer very much at all. I thought that the way that Longman ended up sort of toe poking it wide really showed the lack of confidence in the side at the moment. Was clearly sort of snatched at it, really. There was a real lack of conviction, maybe showing the desperation for them to try and get a goal on the board. This would have been a huge match going into it, given the way that Mark Fotheringham started at Huddersfield as well. Huge first win for them. I think in terms of the table as well, this was a really disappointing weekend. Obviously, Blackpool winning and Huddersfield in turn. So Hull getting sucked closer to the bottom 3, 6 losses in 7 now. And with Middlesbrough and West Bromwich Albion expected to pick up after they do appoint their new managers, they are looking up at a team like Hull as one of the first teams that they'll be hoping to overtake. So a really disappointing performance, and one where, again, they weren't able to build on what seemed like a very important midweek win.
Yeah, lots of uncertainty at Hull City right now, both on and off the pitch, of course, still searching for their successor to Shota Arveladze. It looked like Pedro Martins was going to get the job at the MKM Stadium. However, negotiations collapsed at the final stage. Hull still without the manager, Andy Dawson, in interim charge right now. Do you fear for the Tigers, Marcus, this season from what you've seen so far? Because early on, they looked like there were some flashes of quality. You know, they signed a number of players over the summer, some quite eye-catching arrivals, the likes of Jean-Michel Seri, Estupiñán as well, scores goals at this level, it seems. Are you worried for him?
Defensively, yes. I think going forward, they're in a little bit of a slump, but I can see them getting out of it. I think they do have the quality, but it's not a surprise to see them take a little bit longer to settle into the season, given the size of their squad and the amount of new signings. That is does take a more extended transition than is the case with some other sides. But defensively, I do feel like they underinvested in the summer. They prioritised attacking positions, and they're sort of feeling the brunt of that at the moment. So maybe they need to get a manager in that's a bit more defensively inclined to sort that out. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, given the performances of the last few weeks, particularly in their rear guard, for me, it is concerning. Yeah, they're definitely going to be looking over their shoulders for a while longer.
Yeah, 26 league goals conceded now for Hull City, minus 13 goal difference, the worst in the Sky Bet Championship right now. It definitely seems that the defensive solidity is where the issue lies. Let us know your thoughts then on Hull City as Marcus's second loser. Do you agree with Marcus's selection? Is there anyone that Marcus missed in terms of winners and losers? We'd love to get your thoughts. Right, well, that's it from us here at Football League World TV today. We've got lots of shows coming up over the next few days. Tomorrow, we're going to be taking a look at the situation at West Bromwich Albion. They are now without a manager. Steve Bruce sacked by the board this morning after a very alarming run of form. They are in the relegation zone in the Championship right now, which is quite remarkable to say, given how well many pundits thought they'd do at the start of the campaign. Marcus, thanks for joining me, as ever, on this Monday afternoon. Please do subscribe to FLW TV on YouTube. We really do appreciate all the new subscribers that come and join us here on the channel. If you can, please do stick a like in below this video as well. It really does help us out. But until the next show, we shall see you soon.